How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to New Mexico State Men's Basketball News. I'm Marshall, and today's video is going to be more of like a review type video. I'm going to talk about 5 different players for the Aggies that can have high score and lows this season. As you guys know, last year the Aggies defense was great, but the offense was not. So hopefully that improves a lot this upcoming season. We're going to talk about 5 different players who average double figures at Division I or just at a different college at a different level at some point in their career, and maybe it happened multiple times for their career. We'll get into all that. Also going to touch a little bit on former Aggie Teddy Allen, one of the greatest Aggies of all time. Some people think he's the greatest Aggie of all time. That's debatable. Obviously, he's only with us for 1 year, but it was a great year. Helped us get our first tournament win in 29 years. And had a 37-point game against UConn. Didn't play so great against Arkansas, who has Jalen Williams, who's playing for the Thunder. Not J-Dub, the other Jalen Williams, that doesn't play as much, but still a solid player for them. He was at Arkansas, had like 10 points against us, averaged about 10 points that game, or that year, I mean. I'm not sure how many points at that game, because I think he had 10, but ended up, helping Arkansas beat the Aggies, unfortunately. But this video is not about him, obviously. So let's get straight into what this video is all about. As you guys know, the Aggies are very guard heavy. Some of our really good guards that are going to be able to score a bunch. Jamel Jones, averaged 18.9 points per game at Cal State Bakersfield. He was in the top 45 to top 50. I believe he was in that 46 range. Can't remember exactly. Scoring in all of Division I. And I don't know how many exact Division I basketball players there are, but there's 363 D1 teams with probably like 15 to 16 players on each team. Kind of do the math there. It's a lot of players. So for him to be in the top 50 is very, very incredible. And he's more of a 3-level scorer. He's quite the rim, has a good mid game, and shoots the 3 ball pretty well. He has some tough shots. He had a 45-point game this past season. So he's done a lot of great things, and I would be surprised if he's not one of our top scorers this upcoming season. Elijah Elliott's a guy that played in the WAC for Rio Grande Valley, and he averaged 16.5 points per game there. And he also averaged 14 points per game last year in just 5 games for Southern Illinois. Had an injury, I can't remember if it was an ACL or Achilles, kind of similar to what Dame or Tatum have. He started in 4 of those games. So again, not sure if he's going to start with the Aggies or not, but whether he does or not, he's going to still be a great player and be a top scorer, whether he's scoring double figures or not. I'm sure he's going to be one of those guys that's like a low double figure or high single-digit point per game scorer. Maybe similar to kind of Rob. Rob's first year here, he averaged about just under 10 a game at 9.7. This past year, I believe he averaged 10.1 in that range. So I believe that he can be a guy kind of like him. Another guard I want to mention is what we talked about last video is Chris Terrell. Averaged 21.2 points per game at Division II Delta State last year. Has averaged double figures in every single season he's played college basketball. And I'm sure he's going to want to continue to do the same with us. His 3 years playing community college basketball. He did play 3 years because the COVID year didn't count towards eligibility, so he had extra year. Averaged double figures each year he was there. He upped his scoring from 10 his freshman year to 13 to just under 18 his junior year. Then averaged 14 his first year playing Division II basketball, first year playing NCAA basketball in general. Obviously averaged 21 last year, which is his first time averaging over 20. He had some seasons that was close, but didn't quite get there till last season. I don't think he'll be a guy that can average 20 in Conference USA, but I also do think he's a guy who can average double figures, kind of like Zadi, how he made the transition from Division II to Division I and is able to be a double-digit point per game scorer. Christian Cook obviously went from playing at Division II in Oklahoma to being our best player. He was our best player his first year in recruiting, and then this past year, him and Filipovic, which I wish we'd have Filipovic back. I think he has another year of eligibility if he really wanted it, but he's going to play overseas, which I respect. And we talked about multiple times on this channel. A lot of times, you don't want to see guys play college basketball for 6-7 years. So respect to him. We're obviously really guard heavy, so there's only a few to name, and I'll definitely talk about more in the future, and I've already talked about a lot. I do want to talk about some more forward play. Kyrie Smolin, Julius Mims, those are 2 forwards that, can fill it up on the offensive end. And Julius Mims, I feel like, can more so do it on the defensive end, whereas Kyrie Smolin, not as good of a defender as Julius, in my opinion, but I think he can definitely be really good on the offensive end. He had a year where he averaged 14 points per game at Hampton in a good CAA conference, averaged 7 points in both his freshman and junior year, so his scoring kind of did drop from last year, but maybe that was just less opportunities. I didn't watch Hampton at all last year, so I'm not sure if they had any big players come in. If you guys did, let me know. But I think he can still be a solid player for the Aggies. I'm not sure if he'll be a guy that, again, it's going to be hard for all those guys to average double figures just because, you don't see that happen a whole lot. You don't see like 5 or 6 guys on the same Division I team do that. But I think last year we had 4 guys, Zadi, Rob, Christian Cook, and Peter. So it's definitely possible. The year before we had Peter and Femi. I think those are the only 2. I could be missing one from not mistaken. But I can't remember exactly. But my point being, it's going to be hard for, because we've had probably like 6 or 7 guys total on this team that had seasons averaging double figures. So it's going to be hard for all of them to do that playing together. But overall, I think he's a good rebounder, terrific rebounder. Even if he's not scoring, if he has a game where he's off, I believe he's going to bring it up, on the rebounding end. And as Coach Noonan, said multiple times, he even told me, when I interviewed him about almost 2 years ago, which is crazy to think, he was telling me that, your shot's off, that's fine. That happens, right? Obviously, you don't prefer that to happen, but everyone's going to have their off days. Everyone's going to have their good days. But on those off days, and even on those good days, you should always have effort on the rebounding and on the defensive end. Julius Mins was a guy who averaged 11 and 8 his first year at Idaho, and this past year averaged about 8 and 6 in less minutes, but still was really efficient. His numbers actually a little bit more efficient this past year, I believe. And super athletic, great defender, gets a lot of blocks and steals. He's going to be a terrific player for us. He has a high chance of starting, in my opinion, maybe a little bit more than Mullen. But we'll see how it goes. Again, I want to make that video predicting the starting lineup, but it's just so hard because we have so many guys who've started at so many schools and have had, many great years. Again, averaging double figures, like I've said multiple times. So it's going to be hard to say, but I'm sure whatever Coach Hooten and his staff comes up with, it's going to be great. And the biggest thing about this is that we're going to be a deep team. Hooten's first year here, we weren't that deep of a team. We only went about 8 or 9 guys, which is kind of common, I guess, but even then, those 8, 9 mans didn't do a whole lot for us. Last year, we're a lot deeper of a team. We had like 13 guys that could technically get in and do something, do some damage. And this year, I believe it's the same thing. We have 12 guys right now, I believe. And I'm sure all those 12 guys seem like guys that can, do some really good things. And again, I'm sure Coach Hooten's going to sign about 2 to 3 more guys. And I wouldn't be surprised if those guys can also do some damage. We're obviously not going to have a 15-man roster, but I would love for at least some point during the season for all 15 guys to contribute to a big win. I think that'd be awesome. Maybe early in the season, some of those guys that aren't going to play as much in conference play, maybe we're playing against like a D2 or D3 school, and they just go off and help us get a win against a team we should be able to beat. That's still contributing at a high level, and I hope that we can see something kind of like that. This last year, for example, we see like Xavier Johnson, Christopher Bayeku. I would love to see guys like that, let's say guys that have a lesser role for this upcoming season, to still get in the game against a not so great team and help the team get a win, if that makes sense. Like I said earlier in the video, I want to take a little bit about Teddy Allen. He's averaging 16.3 points, 4 rebounds, 2.3 assists, and 1.2 steals per game for the Tijuana Aggies. It's a second-level Mexican league in the Coba, something like that's how you say it. Some crazy league name, but some good competition. I think the pay is anywhere between like $1,500 to $8,000 a month, so I'm not sure where he falls in that range since this is his first year there. But I feel like Teddy Allen deserves to get paid a lot of money for his basketball skills. He played, obviously, with the Vancouver Bandits and the Scattlers and the why can't I think about it? In the Canadian Elite Basketball League, which Tristan Jass, if you guys watch him on YouTube, he's actually playing that league right now, but is hurt. Played in a game, had 18 points. Same league Teddy dominated in, averaged 23 one year, 28 the other year, MVP. He had some, behavioral issues, as you guys know. So hopefully he cleans that up. And he was obviously really good in the G League, averaged 14 a game. He's a guy that, definitely can make the NBA, but again, his age, he's getting older and older. It's going to be hard for him. Look at guys like Joe Ingles, made his NBA debut at 27. Same with Joel Breath on the Blazers. So it's definitely possible for him to make a debut at, even though he's a little bit older. So I think right now, I think he's going to be 27 this year, in June, actually, pretty soon. Unless he already had his birthday, but I think his birthday is June 7th. I could be wrong on that. I believe he was born in Scottsdale or something. My point being is that he's getting up, to 27, which is whenever, Joe Ingles and Joel Breath both made their NBA debuts. So it's definitely possible. Maybe he, does the same thing at 27. If he does, you best believe we're going to make a video on that. I really want to see a bunch of former Aggies get their opportunity, like Serge Rice, even Juwan Gordon, who's a really hard worker for us. There's so many other guys out there looking for an opportunity, and I believe they can get it. You look at Sherman Queen, who's a great player for us, but I feel like Teddy Allen, Serge Rice, there's arguments to be made there that they had better careers or better years than Trevlin did with us. So we'll just have to see how it all goes. That should be the comment. I want to see some more comments. Comment below who you think the greatest Aggie of all time is, or the best Aggie of the 2020s since, obviously 2020. That's going to close out for the video today. Want to touch a little bit on, just some players, give you guys some updates on how great I think they can be. And again, I might, make a starting lineup prediction eventually, soon, at the end of the summer, hopefully. Or before that, we'll see. And obviously talked a little bit about Teddy Allen. That'd be cool to, because I was looking through, I was like, let me make a post yesterday, look how Teddy Allen is doing. Looks like he's doing pretty good. And he's already playing like 12, 13 games in just a month. I'm not sure how long those seasons go for. Maybe I'll do more of an in-depth analysis on that. Maybe make a whole video dedicated to him. I was thinking about doing that and just talking about his whole career as an Aggie, but I think I've already done that before. And I thought it'd be cool to just talk more about, the current Aggies, obviously, while touching a little bit on some former Aggies legends, if you want to call them. Again, that's going to do for the video, and I'm out.